How one man built a Nike company. Nike was just one man's dream of having better shoes, and now it's become our way of thinking. All of us now are just familiar with Nike's traditional branding approach, just do it. The largest and most well-known sportswear manufacturer in the world. One man's desire for better shoes led to the creation of a global business in less than 50 years that is now worth over $100 billion. In order to understand how that magic happened and what the elements were for their success, we're going back to the beginning of Nike today. It's the year 1962. Phil Knight had recently received his Stanford degree. Any business graduate will tell you that it's challenging to start your own business if you don't have any solid ideas. But Phil did. He used to run long distances in college, and in one of his business classes, he had prepared an essay outlining the following concept. Phil wondered if Japanese shoes could do the same for Puma and Adidas, which were at the time very popular in America. He had seen how Japanese cameras had supplanted the dominating German cameras in the American market. After finishing the paper and receiving his diploma, Phil became fixated on the notion of introducing Japanese footwear to the United States. He didn't, of course, possess any Japanese running shoes, and the few he had seen had been brought to the United States by troops stationed in Japan during the occupation following World War II. But Phil was encouraged that he had stumbled across a fantastic opportunity by this lack of exposure. He was aware that in order to benefit from it, he would need to make contact with the Japanese corporation and negotiate the import of their products into America, both of which required skills he had no prior knowledge of. But he just went ahead and did it, as was only proper for the man who would later develop Nike. Let's jump right into the details. To help you comprehend how the Nike brand evolved to be what it is now, let's first go over its historical development. Nike's well-known emblem has undergone changes over time, just like its products. Learn more about the history of the Nike brand and the significant developments that have taken place since it was founded by reading on. He traveled to Japan by plane in November 1962 and immediately got to exploring. He came into a shoe shop in the lovely city of Kobe that caught his eye. It belonged to the Onitsuka Tiger Corporation, and the shoes they produced were exceptionally well made for their time, to the point where Phil was determined to import them back home. He set up a meeting with the company's founder by posing as an American distributor of shoes. To his astonishment, the owner approved Phil's offer to become Onitsuka's distributor in America after he immediately came up with the company name. With little more than his self-assurance, Phil had succeeded in securing Onitsuka Tiger's position as the country's exclusive distributor. In 1963, he received his first shipment of 12 pairs of Tiger shoes, and he immediately began hawking them at any running track he could get to out of the back of his automobile. His plan was obviously unworkable, so he turned to Bill Bowerman, his former coach at the University of Oregon, who was the only person he knew who knew more about running shoes than he did. Bill was, at the time, without a doubt, one of the most well-known coaches in America. In reality, he had worked with a number of Olympians. He wanted to partner up because he loved the Tiger shoes so much. In order to create Blue Ribbon Sports, Bill and Phil each contributed $500 in January 1964. They used all of that cash on their initial order, which included 300 pairs of shoes at a cost of $3.33 each. Due to Bill's contacts, the shipment arrived in April 1964, and by July, it had all been sold. BRS sold $8,000 worth of shoes in its first year, and Phil began hiring salespeople for his business with that money. Their earnings rose to $20,000 in 1965. They then opened their own store in Santa Monica rather quickly. But while Phil ran the business end of things, Bill was the one who was actually coming up with new ideas. He was the person who introduced jogging to the United States on his own. He published a book about it in 1966 that went on to sell over 1 million copies. Of course, his company was among the first to begin marketing the Tiger running shoes. Bowerman was passionate about innovation, so with each new shipment from Onitsuka, he could open a few pairs of shoes to study how they were constructed. He would then constantly strive to enhance the shoes by, for instance, increasing the cushion or utilizing more lightweight materials. He would frequently convey his notes to Japan and ask for adjustments. Onitsuka's shoes were being created by Bowerman just for them. Phil's design was what propelled BRS into the public eye. The 1968 Olympics were held in Mexico, which likely helped Cortez, as he dubbed it, become one of the top-selling shoes of the year. BRS sold $300,000 worth of shoes in 1969 because of the Cortez. But they faced a serious issue. The Cortez was so popular that they were unable to meet demand. Every fresh delivery they received was more quickly sold out than the previous one, but Onitsuka continued to send them at the same glacial rate. Onitsuka actually sent whatever was left to America after first meeting their domestic demand in Japan. Phil and Bill understood that in order to grow, they would have to go beyond being straightforward distributors. They then understood that they were in complete control. Since Bowerman had designed the Cortez, they were free to begin producing it for their own use as soon as their contract with Onitsuka ended. Fortunately for them, their agreement would expire in 1972, just in time for the Munich Olympics. As a result, Phil had plenty of time to plan his major move. He began working on branding in 1971. The brand name Nike was proposed in his first work as a tribute to the Greek goddess of victory. When Phil realized he needed a logo, he rushed to a nearby institution, seized the first graphic design student he could, and instructed her to create one for him. He acquired the swoosh for the astounding sum of $35. In retrospect, the money was well spent, and Phil was now prepared for the Olympics with his new branding. This time, Phil built a network of subcontractors throughout Japan rather than securing exclusive contracts. Phil could finally expand his wings once he had production under his control. Sales also increased when Phil began importing shoes from his Japanese suppliers. And indeed, he began working before his 1971 contract came to an end. After that, they rose to the position of being the leading sportswear brand in America in 1989, thanks to creative marketing strategies like the Just Do It campaign and the signing of amateur athletes who would go on to become well-known throughout the globe. With this, we would like to end this video with the hope that you liked and enjoyed it. If you like our content, make sure that you like our video. And do share your views and opinions with us in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel to receive regular videos from us. And don't forget to click the bell icon to never miss an update. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Until then, peace.